Last time on One Piece chapter 1134, we discover at the end of the chapter that a black lightning appeared, struck the castle of Elbaf, and a symbol appeared resembling what Saint Saturn used to summon the other Gorosei to Egghead Island, or beam them from Pangea Castle to Egghead Island. Now, here we are. Also discovered that Shanks and his subordinate, by the way, or partner, have now infiltrated Elbaf. So here we go at One Piece chapter 1135, titled Camaraderie Cups. And let's get into it, because it's gonna be an interesting chapter. Starting off where Bonnie and Chopper reading a giant book. Giant book. The Giant's Well of Wisdom. And Saul says, Bibelot is this library's master. They say he's been here for hundreds of years. All we can say for sure about this owl, by the way, that we saw last chapter, that's been on top of the branch, sitting on a branch. He gigantifies any book that enters his territory. Bibelot, head librarian of the Owl Library, or head librarian of the Owl Library. So yeah, Bibelot. And to my knowledge, that's a devil fruit ability off rip, because once I read this chapter, so devil fruit ability. Interesting. And more interesting enough, he has a coat and some glasses to boot. So yeah, that's how you know this is some Harry Potter shit that might end up in the One Piece world. So yeah. Then he says hoot, by the way. No human language, by the way, but I'm pretty sure Chopper can translate what he's saying. So yeah. It continues. News coups don't come to Elbaf since it's not part of the world government, which that's true. But sometimes the fishermen bring some tiny papers back here so we can read them. Okay, I get it. Okay. So if they can't read the newspaper, they have to rely on the fisherman that the news crews bring it. And if they can't read it, they have to bring it back to the Bibelot and read it in his territory, which I'm pretty sure his devil fruit ability, based on his range, if it's a large range, then that's some range. I mean, depending on what range are we talking about. I mean, if it's bigger, if you take Law's fruit, devil fruit ability, and compare it to this devil fruit ability, Bibelot's devil fruit can beat that. But anyways, Lewis says he must have eaten the rare fruit and become a nurturing owl. To think even inorganic things can grow with his power. That's a perfect ability for a kingdom of giants. Okay, never mind. I got it. Okay. The rare fruit, we might have to get some clarification on that. I'm gonna have to look that up. Anyways, Law says, you feeling nostalgic yet? And Robin says, yeah. And Chopper says, I hope they have medical books here. And Robin says, I know they have a few, but most of it is archaeological and historical works, by the way. So Robin, we kind of know off rip that some of these books are from O'Hara that she knows about. So it's like, yeah, some of these are from O'Hara, so this is mostly history and architect kind of stuff. And also, she clarified, we got some medical books native to Elbaf too. And Chopper said, wow, I can't wait to read them all. And although those books were also always large, so they can't be shrunk down, by the way, unless you take them out of the territory of the library. Then that will go back to normal size. So yeah, that's fun. Flash forward, you just see Luffy playing with the kids, and then they're basically roughhousing with Luffy personally, which you shouldn't roughhouse with Luffy, because everybody should know that if Luffy gets super serious, then yeah, it won't end well. Anyways, the kid that cries to one of the giants, said, wow, it was so scary, Mr. Jerd. And Luffy and Usopp said, hey, it's shameful for a word to cry. Back off, Luffy. These kids were raised with nothing but love and kindness. Yeah, so I just looks up and said, And one of the kids, this reminds me of when Momo went to on the Straw Hat Pirates when Momo and Kinemon was with them, and Momo went to Robin and Nami crying, and when Momo kind of shifted his head with a smirk, that Sanji says, "Come on, that's a universal brat behavior now." Let me pull up that image like right there. That's crazy how that looks like that. Anyways, Luffy says this is a bit of a letdown, Usopp, and Usopp said, "Yeah, but it's not like a peaceful Elbath is a bad thing." So I get what Luffy is saying too, and Usopp, because they were imaging Elbath when they met Dorian Broggy back on Little Garden. They kind of had a picture of what Elbath looks like, but you also got to remember too, because given Loki slayed his father, and I get where Luffy and Usopp is coming from, because it's unnatural, right? Because you always think, oh, Elbaf is giant warrior pirates and they pillage and we'll see the damn ocean, sea burn down, right? Sea of fire. But at the same time, when you walk on the island, it's like, oh, this is kind of wait, what the hell? This is peaceful. I mean, what? Right? So I get what they're saying, because current generation Elbaf pirates are not like that right now. But I do want to specify too. The last king was generous, kind, and anti-war, going to war. So in my opinion, he was a pacifist. Basically, I'm trying to say that's the word I was looking for. A pass. He was that. However, that also changed when Loki came on the scene and saw that. I was like, oh hell no, we ain't doing that. You turning us into some softies, and I'm betting Loki just cut down his father and was like, yeah, none of that shit. That shit stops there where when you die. And I'm betting Luke, the other giant, seeing now is like, oh no, we can't have you taking the throne, because if you take the throne, we might end up going backwards to the old ways of how giants were supposed to, right? So that's kind of back then when Loki slayed his father, that the other giants kind of look at that as like, that's not good, because if he takes that throne, if we go backwards and go back to how we used to be out in the seas, well known to pillage and see the world burn, that's not a good thing. And also, the government might end up waging war against us. That's also not good. So yeah guys. So I get what Luffy and again, I get what Luffy and Usopp is saying about Elbaf. So yeah, their expectations were high, and then once they kind of like venture off in the town a bit, or the village a bit, their expectations kind of dwindled down, to like, oh well, this is not what I expect. If you were there back then, Luffy and Usopp, then yeah, right? You will see some pillage and attacks and shit. Though I don't know about how you guys would see it, but like, oh well, this is kind of bad if you think about it. But anyways, forward to Luffy and Usopp fighting against somebody, said, there you are, Straw Hat, and a sword comes at Luffy, and Luffy kind of like punched the sword and broke it, and I don't know, that looks like a wooden sword. Yeah, it's a wooden sword, because if it was a real sword, Luffy might be in some trouble. But then again, Luffy is strong as hell, so I think a metal steel sword sharp enough to cut somebody, Luffy might, with arm in a hagi, like broke the sword. So yeah, so wooden sword, Luffy comes in contact with Luffy's haki, armament haki, and he kind of quickly punched the sword in half. So the kid was like, what? And this is why you don't play house with Luffy, play rough for Luffy, because what ends up happening is Luffy goes to Gear 3rd and busting out elephant gun on a kid, whereas Luffy, mind you, these kids are not strong as you, by the way, because if that technique would have connected to that kid, either he would have died or passed out, or not passed out, unconscious. Fell unconscious with that hit. He would get some kind of injury, Luffy. And Usopp said, well, wait a minute, damn it, don't overdo it. You dummy, basically. And well, Luffy said, I didn't even hit him. That's not the point. You're going to be in trouble. And Luffy's like, it's good to know not everyone around here is so spineless. And the other children's like, ooh, that Luffy is a meanie. I hate violence. Remember, this is current generation of Elbaf warriors, so they're kind of they've been brought up and taught, by the way, that violence is bad. So unlike some of the giants. Well, and the kid says, that was so cool. You're an emperor, all right. So one of the other kids too shows up, and Ripley says, Colin, don't cause a scene. But that was a solid first strike. Oh, so she puts a thumbs up, by the way, acknowledging that she was watching the whole entire damn thing. Now, what was that, Warris? One of the Warris says, Mom, not Moto-san made all your favorites. The one said, what? You're our mom, Ripley-chan? At least you're teaching your son the old ways. Aren't you going to tell him to apologize for the sneak attack? As Luffy's, not Luffy. I think that's Luffy, but I think it's Son. Yeah. Now, Colin says, did you know my father's a human too? And he said, well, one of them said, huh? He used to be a pirate and he didn't fear anyone, not even the warriors of Elbaf. That's interesting. So where is he now, though? That's the interesting part. And Sanji says, your dad's a human? And Ripley says, my husband's much younger than me. Our marriage is more informal because of that age gap. He always said it would be weird to make it official, right? Since he be the only one to ever grow old. And one of them says, is he for real? So Luffy says, whoa, even the library is awesome here. These books are huge. So Luffy comes back. Luffy made it, went back to the giant library too. Or went to giant library with Robin, Bonnie, Chopper, and Dr. Vegapunk / Lilith is there. So yeah, back at the other panel, Frankie says, oh, ow, I also got some business around here. This entire kingdom is on an atom tree. It shows a diagram, said treasure tree atom, basically. That's the same kind of wood which the Sunny is made of. So yeah, basically Frankie found the same material made from the Sunny, basically, which is located on Elbaf. So yeah, wow, right? And Soul speaks of it, say, yeah, there are few atom trees around the world, but the age of this one is off the charts. And Frankie also says, I want to learn more about the treasure tree while we're at it. And Luffy says, no worries, we're just on go ahead, and I gotta eat before I strive at my starve at my limit. And yeah, so basically the Straw Hats, next panel, all go on to go to wherever the hell they're going to, which I'm thinking is the feast. So yeah, and they all gotta do outfits, by the way. So yeah, that's another thing. Right? So yeah, on to the next panel. Alice's castle near the western village. And one of voices, what are you twerps doing here? We guards can't let you roam free, you know. Are you part of the Straw Hat crew? What business do you have in this country? Okay, we get a kind of what the woman looks like, that company with Shanks. So she stays silent for a bit, ... And then she speaks, we're looking for the one called Loki. And the one of the guys says, was laughing and said, Loki, why would you want to see that criminal? Our country suffered greatly because of him. He's a king-slaying fiend who killed our beloved King Horo. That's why this castle is so empty. Then will you tell me where he is, as the lady says. We can't, the giant spoke back, said, we can't do that. On the off chance he uses you to escape somehow. And then one of the ladies said, well, so you won't tell me then, bottom. Said, sorry, this was a waste of time after all. And the woman just like blitzes one of the giants. So this has to be some sort of joke. And one said, ball. And all of a sudden he just fell to the ground. Or not fell to the ground, but it looks like he has. Oh no. He did fall to the ground. He's panting. And one of the Giant said, huh, what's wrong? And all of a sudden, he hits the ground and says, it hurts. And screams. And one of the Giants called on him and said, Bog, Bog. And Shanks' subordinate says, basically, this is what happens when you're too rude and prideful. I wasn't really asking before. Now, the lady says, this time I'm ordering you to tell me. And the Giant said, what's going on? Now, this is happening while the Straw Hats Straw Hat are partnering and feasting, and feasting. I have a party with the other giants, basically, with Dorian the Broggy and the other giants. By the way, which by the way, I'm gonna skip all the rest. By the way, but in conclusion, everybody's having a good time, and all you meet is an old man that has a sword stuck in his. It looks like it is stuck in his head, basically, with the helmet. So I don't know if the helmet he's wearing is he had it on and the sword went through the helmet and through his head. Don't know about that, but if that is true, that is not good. And by the way, but chapter 1135, and so I'm going to end it there. Remaining questions, not questions, but last thoughts on this chapter. Well, we definitely know how strong Shanks' subordinate is, because she basically blitzed this man, and for some reason it looked like a delayed effect. Not delayed effect, what am I saying? She blitzed him and he fell on the ground, or one hand on the ground on the knees, and then he hit the ground. His body hit the ground. So he's saying it hurts. So that made me believe, is it the same power as the Gorsei? Because remember what happened to Sabo when he got hit with the tail, right? Even though, actually no, even though he got hit by an attack from the Gorsei, one of the Gorsei, he said it hurts, but you know what I'm talking about, right? That episode. And I'll pull up the screenshot though, but even though I think that's only exclusive to Devil Fruit Devil Fruit users, but if it's the same logic with the giants without, or what people without Devil Fruit, that's a problem. Because if that's true, then we may have Luffy might have a interesting battle on his hands, because if he gets hit wherever this giant, or what was his name, Bog, wherever Bog got hit with and just dropped to the ground. Yeah, and he looks like he's in excruciating pain, by the way, when she attacked him. Like, this man was like, oh shit, that's like, oh, it hurts, because he was in pain. So, and she was like, oh yeah, the next time you do this, I'm gonna do it again, basically, or make it like a kill shot. So she basically said, this is what happens when you're too prideful, by the way, rude and prideful. So I wasn't asking before, which she was asking nicely, but funny enough, because, oh yeah, another thing too I forgot about is, if you look here in this panel, which I'm going to circle this to pull it up and circle that. If you look there, you see a hilt. Looks familiar, right? You see, it looks like Shanks' sword, though we don't get that image though. So damn it, Oda. That's so frustrating. But you do get that. We get the sword. I mean, not the sword, but the hilt of the sword. So we don't know if that's Shanks or not. Well, Shanks' twin brother, or Shanks himself, but that indicates right there the sword's hilt. So that might be interesting, right? But if you like this video, subscribe and like and comment down below if you think Luffy might be in some trouble here with the upcoming two invaders trying to free Loki. By the way, also comment down below too, in addition to the one I just said before, if you think which one will get out first, get to Loki, free Loki first, the two invaders or Luffy? Because I know Luffy might end up forgetting about the deal between him and Loki. Though, I mean, you got Shanks' twin brother, which you still don't know the name of, and the woman too. So will our two invaders free Loki, or will Luffy free Loki? Comment down below. And see you again, and see you next adventure. Laters.